Hey everyone, thanks for joining us today at the Talsona webinar. We're really excited to show you guys some of the new tools we released and how to get most of your Talsona account. Talsona is a team building technology that helps candidates find meaningful jobs and companies find compatible members to their culture. Overall, I'd like to walk you through today on how to create an account and complete your profile. It takes less than 5 minutes, and find jobs or teams that will be compatible for your skills and personality. Or if you're a company, how to gain better understanding of your own culture and be able to integrate new members that will be naturally compatible for your team. Throughout the webinar, I also touch a little bit on the vibe system, which is the psychology theory behind Talsona, as well as other part of the algorithm and how they work, and obviously answer any of the questions you guys have. Let's get started. Opening the Talsona account is a pretty simple process, which for most users takes less than a few minutes to complete. Once you enter your invite code, you'll see the first steps of the registration process. Simply fill in your name, email, and password, or use one of the social login button here at the bottom to log in with your Gmail, LinkedIn, or Facebook account. I'll quickly fill that up so you can see how it works. And when you're ready, simply click the join button. You just created your account. In order to be able to find you the right team, we'd like to get to know you a little better, both in terms of your talent and professional history, the things you like to do, as well as your personality. The process again is pretty simple and fun. Just enter your profession and industry. Then we ask you around 9 questions. Now I know that many people try to guess what we measure in these questions. The way that the Talsona algorithm works is that you as the user actually get to dictate that. As we learn about your personality and the choices of interaction throughout the site, we constantly reverse engineer these accordingly. Some of these questions may have some trait value assigned to them originally, though as more and more users answer these questions, the traits develop very, very different meanings and become more accurate to what they actually are. We have a few thousand questions and quizzes on the site, which we'll get all later on. Obviously, you don't have to answer them all. Many of these are actually submitted by the users or other users, and as other users answer them, we learn about the type of personalities they reflect. You can see some of what these questions are like. Do you procrastinate a lot? Are you methodical or flexible? What's more important, process or results? All high school students should have to wear a uniform. You are empathetic or logical? You're at a karaoke bar and it's your turn, but your friends get to pick the song. Will you do it? Probably not. What's more important, results or process? You're good with money. Pretty good. What is more important, doing or helping? A competition is a healthy thing in a company. Pretty healthy. In next steps, we like to learn a bit about some of the things you're good at. We developed a system that we call the highlight system. It pretty much gives you a way to create different lists around different topics. Here's an example of, for example, we ask you about your expertise, so you can fill in the things that you're actually good at. Photoshop, for example, I do 25%, and I make a lot of presentations. For example, I'm also pretty good at CSS and JavaScript. Now you see I kind of like got the numbers wrong here, but I'm going to press continue anyhow, and it's going to give me an option to autocorrect that, so it's going to distribute it automatically between all the different options that I chose. What's really unique about Talsona's algorithm is that although there is a lot of psychology behind it to better understand people's personality types, in its core it's actually based on historic relationship data between real people. And the idea that people who work with people that they like and respect are happier and more productive in the long run. You can think about it in many ways like Netflix, where one person says that they like a specific movie, and we can make a prediction about other movies that they would like based on that choice and other people who made similar choices. We use very, very similar logic, only that we apply it to people. So for example, when we know that 100,000 people from personality type A say that they like working with personality type B, we assume that this will be a positive working relationship. And this is all data that comes from real users just like you, where we ask you to tag the people you like working with. This is how we know which type of people to match you in the future. So I'm going to go ahead and tag my favorite coworker. At this point, you pretty much completed the basic setup of your profile. Now you can go ahead and dive a little bit deeper by discovering what your vibe type is, completing your profile. You can go ahead and start building your team. Let's take a look at some of these options in more details. As you would expect, Talsona user profile include both their talent and persona. This is my profile. You can see it has a picture of me and my cat. The talent part include professional information like work experience, education, project, recognitions, and reviews. As I mentioned earlier, we integrated into this the highlight list we spoke about before. So anyone can go ahead and fill them up as a part of the profile or a specific property inside it, like different work experience or educations, where you can list the thing you have done or learned while working at a specific place. With that, we can create something that is more of a visual resume for many users, and many of the people who go through that process tell us that this is like almost like the first time that they get to chance to see what other people see when they look at their so-called resume. What's really interesting about this system is the way that the Talsona algorithm uses this information to learn about the user's skills and see through 100% of who they are. Each of these skills is taken into consideration based on the duration and focus of the way that the user practices it, which gives you not only a beautiful way to look at your professional history, but also stay true to how good you are at each one of those things. It also forces the user to be a little bit more focused on the things they are really good and interested in. Unlike other sites where you get to copy and paste your resume in one click and you do it for years and years and years and nothing changed, we like to make it easy on the users on one hand, but also challenge them a little bit on the other hand to think about the things they're really good at, think about the things that they really want to do. One of the main thoughts behind this was the process that, in the way that we designed it, was to shift the way that people look for jobs, moving away from a process of spamming the industries with endless amount of resumes to a journey that is more based on self-discovery, where you get to explore and learn about the things that you are good at. The persona part of the user profile include more personal information about the user. Any user can go ahead and pair the personal intro about what they do and who they are. You can also see here different quiz results the user took and get a better idea of their personality for a more specific lens. I'll jump quickly to the quizzes page. We created many quizzes around many different topics, from professional topics to cultural topics, so people can go ahead and learn a little bit more about themselves. I'll walk through this in more details as we go through the job posting process later on. Going back to the persona page, you'll also be able to see here a personal Q&A with the user. We took the question that we find most common in interviews and added them here. As you can see, any user can go ahead and ask another user a question here as well, and if they answer it, it will be displayed on their profile, giving the people a little bit more chance to reflect who they are and their personalities. The vibe page is where you can learn more about the user vibe type, and if it's your own profile page, this is where you can also get to validate your type. Vibe is the psychology engine behind Talsona algorithm. Through this inventory, we identify personality types all over the site. Vibe stands for values, interests, behaviors, and a few extra things. What we've done here is we created an inventory that will give more well-rounded idea about a person and will help both companies and candidates make better hiring choices. Some part of the system has been assembled from traditional personality theories like Holland Codd and Carl Jung. I'm sure that many of you are familiar with type psychology, will recognize some of those traits as we go through them. On top of your vibe type, you'll be able to see your most dominant functions in all 4 parts of the system. These are the traits that you are most comfortable using. You can see my traits here are challenge, enterprising, thinking, and financial. And as you scroll through the page, you'll see your specific type in each part of the vibe system. I'll go through this quickly. You can also find much more information from what we'll cover here on the site and dive much deeper into each one of those types. Like many type systems, the vibe is a dichotomy-based inventory, which means that you get to measure if a user is more comfortable in one trait versus another trait. The values parts of the vibe measure things like are you more a group person or more of an individual? If you take me, for example, and you put me in a room with 12 people to brainstorm, I'm not going to be so happy about it probably. But if you ask me to sit with 2 or 3 people, I'm probably going to have a lot of fun. What's your outcome criteria? Are you more motivated by challenge and learning, or are you more into an achievement and recognition? What's your relationship with the rules? Some people need to create rules and enforce them, while other people, if there are around too many rules, they break down. The interests part is inspired by Holland code theory, which is a famous scale measurement tool for people's interests. Here we look at things like, are you more realistic or social? What's your leadership style and how you approach risk? Are you more investigative or more enterprising? And what's your overall work style? Are you more artistic or more conventional? The behavior part of the vibe is inspired by Carl Jung theory, which many of you are probably familiar with from inventories like MBTI. Here we look at things like, where do you get your energy from? Are you more introverted or extroverted? How do you process information based on your senses or your intuition? And how do you make decisions based on your feeling or thinking and logic? The extra part of the system measures things like your power relationships with others. Are you more dominant or steadiness? What's your main curiosity driver? Are you more financial or experiential? I'm sure many of you know people who made amazing financial choices from almost the moment they were born, and other people who are still struggling to figure it out. And one way of acting and execution. Are you more controlling or observing? Do you need to have everything scheduled and planned, or are you more laid back and like to figure things out as you go? As you can see, there's a lot of psychology behind it all, and if you click on each one of those types, you can dive much deeper, read more about each one of the traits and what they represent, as well as the distribution of professions and industries and the members that belong to each type, which can give you an idea about a profession or an industry that you could be good at. And you can actually go ahead and browse the different type members as well. Unlike many psychology theories, Talsona takes a very mathematical and data-driven approach to type, and this is where things get a little bit more interesting with a tool that we can give you to figure out your compatibilities and build teams. This is the teams page, and I'm going to go ahead a few people here to check what's my compatibility working with them. If your team is not already on Talsona, you can go ahead and invite them by simply clicking the invite icon at the top of the page or the invite button. Or you can go ahead and share your invite URL with them via email or whatever other method you choose. So I added this group of people here. I can go ahead and save them as a team if I want to review them later on. We created a few different ways to look at this group from different perspectives. The relationship tools would give you an idea on the traits and skill each of these members of this team share. You can see here that many of us are connected through traits like enterprising. Jessica and myself are connected through artistic traits, as well as Jonathan and myself are connected through realistic traits as well. You can also see that Danny here is only connected to the rest of the team by feeling and social traits, which is interesting. Now this may mean a good or a bad thing. It depends on the type of team that you are looking to build and the area of saturation that you are able to identify in your team. You can also see the strengths of the teams here in terms of traits and skills. The matrix is actually one of my favorite tools on the site. Here you can slice on an XY dichotomies between each of the traits and skills we find among the team members. So you can very clearly see where each one of them falls. As you can see, it's pretty cool. Obviously, each member has strengths in different areas, which is a part of what makes it so interesting. I showed this tool a few days ago in a demo we did at the Fortune 500 companies, and one of the talent analysts said that so many times she has to deal with identifying strengths of people that she never met. She probably sitting in a different part of the country than they are. She was pretty amazed by the simple idea that this data could easily just come from the people, which is, if you think about it, the way it should come, whatever place that it should come from. One thing that is important to note here, though, is that this set of data that we're looking at here is normalized to display it right now. So it's relevant for this team. You shouldn't be comparing this to results you've seen on another team. As you scroll through the page, you can also see here the vibe type of this group of people as a whole. There is one tool that we are adding here as well, which is a really cool one as we collect more data. This is a tool that will be able to give you a prediction on the level of rapport each one of the team members will have with another team member. It's really, really cool. When you post a job on the site, you get to gain a similar understanding of your team. First, I'll enter the basic information like your companies and location and description. We actually make that process a bit easier by getting to focus on the skills that you are looking to rather than write a long job description that people don't really read. You can set a compensation range and benefit as well, and click the update button. Now don't worry, your job would not be published yet, not until you completed it and ready to publish it. On the demographics tabs, we get to identify who will be the ideal person for the role you are looking to fill. We give you a few ways to do that. You may know someone who will be perfect for the role, but they're not available for some reason. Maybe it's even a person who are leaving the current role and you think they're great and got along with everybody on the team. You can invite them and we'll use their persona to compute the ideal candidate for your job. You can take a 12 questions inventory, or you can adjust the traits and engineer your candidate manually. I personally recommend people to use one of the other methods first and then go and adjust some of the traits if they think they need to. We are actually adding another cool option here where you'll be able to say, for example, I don't really know who is the person that I'm looking for, but I know that they have to work with John, Mandy, Adam, and Jessica. We can use their personalities and based on the historic relationship data that we collect, compute the personality type that they will get along with best as a team. On the content tab, you'll be able to add quizzes and questions to your job post so candidates can answer these prior to applying to your position and giving you a better idea on their personalities under a very specific lens. This is also a great area for companies to show a bit of their personalities for the quizzes they choose to attach. Any company can create also a quiz, which is a really cool option. We have a team of writers and psychologists and designers who helps make this more measurable and fun. So if you're looking to create a quiz, just contact us and we'll be happy to hook you up with a team here. Or you can go ahead and start creating your own quiz on the site. A lot of people go through that process and have a lot of fun with it. On the setting tab, you can review the setting of your position, add collaborators, set up notification and date rates for it to be posted. And when you're ready, go ahead, click the review tab, review it. Once you're happy with all the details, you can click the status tab to publish it. Once you publish your job post, you can go ahead and share it through social networks or via a direct link to the job post that we just published. Then you can either ask the candidates which you find interesting to apply for it, or once you know that they're on Talsona, you can review how compatible they'll be for your position. We just added a team of recruiters here who will also be able to source the right talent for you to review. I don't have the exact data here with me, but I know that the companies who've been using them so far were super happy as they usually get around, they pay around 20 to 30K for this type of services. We now offer this for free for companies who invite their teams to join. So take advantage of that. On the Candidates tab, you'll be able to pick the one that you like from a list of applicants, people who view your gigs, or other referrals either from our recruiters or other users on the site. Once you picked your candidate, on the analytics page, you'll be able to see a very similar report to the one we saw on the team building page. When a user views your job posts, they'll also be able to see how compatible they are with the position and your company, obviously. Connecting with other users and candidates on the site is also super easy. You can either do it directly through a job post page or the user profile. We develop a super easy chat-like message system that is completely free, so people don't have to write long cover letters and very easily can communicate with each other. These are the main options around building teams on Talsona. I know that we are running a little bit out of time and I want to dedicate some time to answer some of the questions you guys have. Jessica here helped me organize these. Thank you, Jessica. So here's the first one. How long does it take to sign up for Talsona? For most users, the basic setup takes between 3 to 5 minutes. It's pretty much all that our algorithm needs to know about a user. Obviously, anyone can continue and perfect their profile and customize it for as long as they want, as many of the users choose to do. But again, I'd say that it takes around 5 minutes to complete the profile. We find that users stick around for a longer time on the site as they get distracted by taking quizzes and checking how compatible they are with other teams and other members of the site. Well, it is somewhat addictive, I guess. The next question is, what are some of the differences you guys see in teams that were built using Talsona? This is a really interesting question. We actually just had a session with a company that's been using Talsona for around a month now. So it's not a lot of data that they were able to collect, but what they did find is that there is almost, what they said was like there was almost an instant rapport among the teams that they're built using Talsona. Unlike teams that unlike other teams that it took much longer for them to warm up and click with each other, the teams that they were using Talsona with, it almost happened instantaneously. Many of the companies we spoke with were using Talsona also to analyze their teams internally and see what's common among the most performing teams, as well as how some of the hiring patterns that they have forms. One company in particular told us that they have a guy who is like a hiring superstar. Like every team that he hires, every talent that he brings in is an amazing fit for the company. And they wanted to find out what is it about the people that he hires that makes them so special. Talsona made it very easy and clear for them to see. Another question we have here is Talsona better for bigger or smaller team? It could be good for both. The way that I see it is that every big team is combined from smaller teams. Nobody really works in a team of 100 people. You work with a closer group that is a part of a bigger group. So as far as we've seen, it's both like big and small companies using Talsona in a pretty much equal way. Is there a minimum compatibility that requires for a candidate to apply for a job? There isn't a minimum rate, not the one that we require. We leave that pretty much to the companies and the candidates. I'd say that if you have less than 50% compatibility for a position, you probably should skip it, but I'm open to be proven wrong on that. The next question is, how many candidates should I expect to be applying for my job posts? The way it worked till now is that we ask recruiters and companies which are posting jobs to refer the candidates that they like most to evaluate for review. We just integrated a recruiting team here internally that helps companies and candidates connect. This is a free service that we offered. We just started offering, and so we don't have a lot of much of data around it. In the way that we look at it, you only need one candidate, and as a candidate, you only need one job. We actually, with the way that we approach it, we try to limit it to the most important people that you need to connect between. Rather than giving you, if I would give you 100 candidates or 200 candidates, I'm just creating a problem for you in many ways. The next question is, what's the best way to connect with candidates? Again, directly from their profile, I would say you can send them a message or exchange email. If they apply to one of your gigs, you can also connect with them on the responsive thread, on a position level. It's really super simple. Do we have more time, Jessica? Okay, 2 more questions and we're done. Can I invite my entire company to join? Yes, there is no limit to the amount of people you can invite. You can simply go ahead and do that. Okay, last question. Are there specific positions that Talsona is better to use for? This is a super interesting question. We did find out that there are some positions that rely more heavily on personalities, like sales positions, for example, where having a type A personality does make a difference. And this comes from a wide range of industries, from real estate to personal training. We also find out that it's great when you have to fit people who have to work with people with very strong personalities. In many ways, they need to have strong personalities as well. And this is very important for positions like executive assistants, for example, or secretaries. Overall, I was somewhat very surprised to discover how many types of positions are so connected to personalities. One of our clients in a very large accounting firm here in New York told me a few weeks ago an interesting take on this. He said that as an accounting firm, they have no real technology that they sell. There is nothing really unique about what they do. It's accounting. The only thing that they sell is actually their people and their services. That's the real assets of the company, their people and their culture. I thought that it was a very interesting perspective of that because I never looked at accounting that way before. I know that we are running out of time. I want to thank everybody again for joining us today at the webinar. We're certainly going to try to do more of this as we release more functionality and enhance the technology. We're also going to post this on the site soon. However, feel free to reach either to me or Jessica with any question. We'll be happy to answer them. Thank you very much, everybody.